Hi guys! So, I'm really bored. I have basically nothing to do right now. And then maybe have one of my little car talks and see what comes up in conversation. So, I wanted to talk about dreams for the first topic. Dreams are a huge thing for me, kind of-ish. I don't know, I think dreams are important to, like, figuring out how you feel sometimes. Sometimes they're not. You know, I call dreams the Alice in Wonderland of your brain because some parts of your dreams are like metaphors for problems in your life, and some parts of it are just plain weird. You know, there's nothing else you could say about it. They just are. But for me, my dreams are so vivid. Like, I'm actually living them when I'm in them, and like I can remember the details of them really easily when I notice that my friends can't exactly. Like Jacob, he can't remember his dreams, like, at all, like barely. But there are a couple dreams that like really stick out to me, and so I want to like tell some of those stories of like which ones stick out to me. The first one on my list is like one of the oldest dreams I can remember. Basically, the dream starts out, from what I can remember, we're in my neighbor's garage, and it's just like me and then one other person. I don't remember who, whatever. But my dad is in there and his motorcycle is in there, and there's like a group of motorcycle people on the outside of the garage door. And in my dream, I was like, oh, I need to go like out there to them, or like to get away from them, like, or something. Like, I was trying to get out of the garage. So like I got on this motorcycle and I was like trying to drive towards the garage, but like as I got close to the garage would just get further away. Like, you know, in those movies where the closer they get, like the bigger the corridor gets. It's kind of like that. So I finally like get to the end, and the garage door is like shutting as all this is happening, and I like do a movie moment. I like slide under with the bike. I get out and they're all like, oh, like only adults are allowed to be here, like you need to leave. And I was like, okay. I'm walking over to my house, and as I'm walking over, I notice a few weird things. First, my mom is in the front yard. She's kind of like walking around, whatever. Well, I'm walking forward, and all of a sudden Callie runs out of my house butt naked and then hides in my bushes. Now, I didn't see anything in my dream. It was just like, that feeling of like I knew she was naked, and I was like, what the heck are you doing? I walk past her and I go to my mom, and my mom is like, Maddie, like, I have something to tell you. And I was like, what? And she's holding my cat Fishers, and at this time my cat Fishers had like vanished. He like ran away, which isn't uncommon for where I live, because a lot of my pets end up getting eaten by mountain lions or coyotes, which is kind of what I assumed happened to Fisher. But you know, this was like pretty recent at the time, so I was like, oh well, you know, he's not gone. And my mom is holding the cat, and she's saying that Fishers is dead. But the cat is clearly alive. Like, it's breathing, it's meowing, it's moving around in her arms, but she's still saying like over and over, like, your cat is dead. And it was just really weird. And, you know, a lot of the dream was just me arguing with my mom about like, the cat's not dead. Like, I can clearly see it right there. After that whole conversation, I was going to go into my front door, and as I was walking into my front door, this kid from my school, who like I kind of knew, like I wasn't really friends with him, but he came up and he's like, there's an earwig in your ear. And I was like, what? And he's like, there's an earwig in your ear. And he goes up and reaches and yanks something out of my ear, and I woke up and literally felt the feeling of someone ripping something out of my ear. Like, it felt so uncomfortable. I literally jumped out of my bed and like checked my bed for bugs, because I was so convinced that like something actually happened in real life. Because that's like what happens in dreams sometimes. You know, your dream interprets some things that are happening to you in real life. So like, there was this one dream I had where I was like in the army or something. Like, I was at this army base and I didn't know why. Like, I wasn't allowed to be there. These two guys who were obviously army people, and I was not, came up. And like, here's the thing about my dreams. I can so clearly see what like the scenes are of my dreams, but I can't describe them very well. Like, this army base, it's from where I was standing. I was like standing, there was a fence around me, it was pretty small, and then there was like another, it was like a storage fence. It was a really small square here, and there was a bunch of stuff stacked inside of it. And then if I was looking forward, there was a giant hill in front of me with all this military stuff on this side, and like, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it, but they were at the top of the hill and they saw me and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? And they like, you know, were starting to come down. They're like, you're not supposed to be here, like you need to leave, whatever. And I was like, no, like I'm fine, like I don't know, I'm supposed to be here or whatever. They pulled a gun on me and like they started trying to shoot me, and so I like ran to hide behind that thing that's here. And I just remember it hurt so bad, like it actually happened in real life, because they kept shooting me in the legs, like over and over and over again. They kept getting me in the legs, but I was still able to like stand up and walk and whatever. And at one point, one of them ran out of bullets, and instead of like reloading it, because I don't think they had ammo, they threw the gun at me. And I was like, oh, this is fine. Like, there's ammo right next to me. Like, I can just fill it up. But as soon as I touched the gun, it turned into a toy gun. And so I couldn't use it. So I was like, what do I do with this? So I threw it at him. And then he picked it up and it turned into a real gun again. And he just started shooting me again. I literally remember, like, them shooting me to the point where I literally was, like, seconds away from dying in my dream. And then I woke up and my legs were in shooting pain and my heart was racing like crazy. Like, it was actually insane. I know there's like a study on it or something that like dreams, if you're having pain in your dreams, then you're probably having something wrong in your real life, like with my legs. But it also counts for like emotional things. So if you're having drama in your life and you're having dreams about those people, like you should really pay attention to them, because they could tell you like how you feel about this person, or like, you know, some sort of way. But don't believe them fully, because dreams are really weird. It's why they're the Alice in Wonderland of your brain, because you're on drugs when you're dreaming. I'm just gonna say it. So I've told you guys about like that dream I had at Nicole's house. Well, I get really weird dreams like that a lot. I haven't had them as much recently, but I used to get them so painfully often. Like, there was this one where it was me and my friends, and we were having sleepover, and I don't know whose house it was. And then this man came, and he like kidnapped all of us. I had 3 different versions of this dream, because I'd have it over and over again. But he came and kidnapped us, and he put us in this, like, the truck, he put us in this truck, but it changed throughout the story. So for the first part that he put us in, it was like, you know those vet trucks where like the outside just looks like a mover's truck, but the inside has all those like certain doors where there's like installed kennels? It was kind of like that. So we were in those like kennels on the inside. Took us there, and then we arrive at this place, and I swear to God that like I have seen someplace so similar to this place before. Like, I don't know if I've actually like been there, or if it's just like my brain creating something similar, but I swear to God, like I've seen a place like this before. Like I had that feeling of I've been here before in real life. But we stopped, and then all of a sudden, you know, the car, you know, the truck thing turned from the vet kennels to like a open bed truck with literally just like dog cages. He had us like all in it, and I had my own one, but I think like the other people were in pairs or something. I don't know why I was alone. But in this version of my dream, he was like saying all this stuff, and like my friends were all like begging to like get out and whatever, and they're like, you know, leave us alone. He took my cage. Oh, I didn't even describe the place. So this place, it was like the middle of a forest, but it was this clearing, light brown dirt ground. And it was like a little mini circle, and there was like a couple trees in the middle. He walked over to this one part, and then there were big holes in the ground. It was like a game or something. I don't even know. It was so crazy. But one of the versions of my dream, for the first one I had, he took me. I watched him like bury all of my friends. Well, I didn't really watch him. I kind of like knew they were buried, because he would take them and then it just, I don't know where they went. But like I knew he buried them. And then he would take mine, and he threw my like thing down into this hole, And basically he was like standing on top of my cage, like mocking me, burying me alive, basically. Like I was being buried alive. I remember the cage changed again to like something wooden, so I was like half able to breathe. Like I wasn't being like super covered in dirt. But he was like standing on top of me and being like, you know, if you can get out, you know, your goal is to save your friends and I'll let you go or something. Like it was some weird thing where like my thing is I had to save them, and then another version was they had to save me, and then there was another version where I didn't even get kidnapped, my friends did, and I had to go find them. But the only reason I could find them is because I had these other dreams, so I knew where it was. Like it was like a sequel to a movie or something. It was so weird. I just remember it so vividly, like the feeling of the dirt being put on me. I have really weird dreams like that all the time. And another thing about my dreams is in a lot of my dreams, if my dream ends and I'm still asleep, it's either I'll have a different dream, which happens sometimes, or my dream will kind of start over from a certain point and play through if I had made a different choice. I also get sleep paralysis a lot, or at least I used to, but now I sleep on my stomach and on my side, so I don't get it very much anymore. But when I did, it wasn't like a lot of people with sleep paralysis that I see, they have a lot of what they see as a like, it's like a black figure on top of them and stuff like that, like someone holding them down. For me, I got sleep paralysis when I was really young. It wasn't like a person, it was like I'd lay down in my bed and I'd be right about to fall asleep and my eyes would get stuck on this corner of my room, and like my eyes would be open, and then I think eventually they would shut, but I'd still like imagine that my eyes were open. It was like these different shapes would appear, like, you know, when you're kind of like, when you close your eyes and you see different shapes and stuff like that, or maybe, I don't know how to describe it, but there was these different shapes, and depending on what size or what it was, I'd either get a really heavy feeling like a elephant was on my chest, or I'd get a really sharp feeling like someone was like stabbing me with something. But another sleep paralysis I got was, I used to sleep on the couch whenever my dad was out of town. There was this one time when it was like really late at night. I was kind of just staying up because it was the weekend. I had nothing to do. But I fell asleep on not the normal side of my couch I usually do. And so I could see my front door from where I was laying, or like I could see the stairs and stuff that were near it. And I remember in my sleep paralysis or whatever, I didn't even realize I was sleeping, but I was laying there and someone opened the front door, and you know, I flipped out because I was like, oh my god, like someone's breaking in, you know, obviously. And this black figure, it walked up to this, you know, to where, like kind of in front of me where I could see it on the 3 steps of my house. And it was just standing there for a second, and like, it didn't say anything, it didn't like gesture, it didn't move, but I knew what it was doing. And it was like this man, it was this big man, but he was just a black silhouette. He started to walk upstairs towards my mom's room, and I knew he was gonna like go for my mom and my little brother because they were both in that room and when my dad was out of town. And like, I see him slowly walking up there like he's taunting me or something. It was so annoying. But I literally remember like trying to scream and trying to get up, and I couldn't. And I literally woke myself up because I was trying to scream and get up so much, because I literally woke up and I was like going, because I was trying to scream. So I literally woke myself up trying to scream, and like it was like that intense, and it lasted so long. It was so annoying. Oh, I have really weird dreams. That's just like one example of like some sleep paralysis I have. I don't really get it anymore because I know how to sleep now, which is nice. I have like really silly dreams sometimes, and I have really like dark, weird dreams, like obviously since you've heard some of these stories. But I have, you know, a lot of them have to do with like me and my family, or I'm like playing the role of somebody else, like it's a movie. These dreams are so weird to me because a lot of my dreams, since I remember them visually a ton, when something is visually different in my dream or has a different feel to it, it is a big thing for me, I guess. I had these 2 dreams, and I had them very, very separate. I didn't think anything of them. But it was like a gloomy, monotone kind of scene where it was like a lot of like, not greens, but like pale, gloomy greens and like grays, but like not really grays kind of colors. I don't know. It was just very gloomy, but not like black and white. Like, not at all. Anyways, that's not the point. This first dream I had, it was a role dream. So it was either I was the little boy or I was the older sister. I really don't remember. I think I was the older sister. It was like this lake. I don't remember how the dream started, but I just remember from this dream, this like one scene. We were on this lake and the lake was frozen over. It was like winter or something, I guess. But the ship had been frozen in the lake. And it was like a pirate ship. It wasn't like a new ship. I couldn't really remember why I was there, but I was like looking for something, and oh my god, I remember. Okay, so it started out with like a flashback. It was me and my brother, and we were playing around. Not like me and my actual brother. It was like me and this character brother. Like, I wasn't me, it was somebody else. They both had black hair, fair skin. They were like short and small, whatever. But we were like playing on the ice. Then something happened, and he like got hurt, or he vanished or whatever, and I didn't really know what happened to him. I was kind of sad about it. It wasn't very nice. So then it flashes forward, and I guess, like, I assume it's a decent amount of time later, I was back at the thing, and this time it was like more frozen over, and it was like snowy, whatever, and I was looking around, and I don't remember how I got there or why I was there. I assume I was like visiting or something, because I was like sad. I was walking near this ship that was like frozen in the lake. I remember like the ice broke or something. Like, I broke the ice on accident, or like my foot fell through. I don't really know how it broke, but it did. And I looked down, and my little brother starts like coming up out of the water, and he's like raising his hand. I think he like grabs me. It was just so weird. And he like, you know, I found out that he like died or something that day. I felt this feeling of like I needed to go visit him, even though I didn't know where he was. And so he knew he had been living under this water, and he was like the undead, I guess. But he talked about this family that was like under the water with him, but there was like nobody there. I'm not really sure, but anyways, I don't remember much of that dream. That's just like what I remember from this other dream I had. So that dream like must have been God knows how long, like a year or something ago. Like, it was a while ago. And I just recently had another dream that was in the same monotone filter. I didn't remember that dream before until I had this dream. I was like, oh my god, I've had a dream like this before. And like, those are the only two dreams that I've had in that like monotone filter. Well, for this second dream, this one's kind of a long one, so I'm gonna try and sum this up. It started out with me and my friends hanging out. Now, I don't know how it happened, but somehow one of my friends ended up dead. Not really sure how, don't know what happened, but they died, and all my friends, instead of, I don't know, calling the ambulance or the cops, they were like, we need to hide the body. I was like, okay, like what? Oh, by the way, in this dream, it doesn't get monochrome until I show up at the same lake from my other dream. Oh, just wait. Well, then it jumps to another scene where we're in the car. The body's like in the car with us in the trunk. We're driving in the mountains, and somehow the cops figured out that we had a dead body in the car, and they were like, we were in like a police chase. We're like trying to get away from these cops, and we're speeding down the road. Well, eventually we get fast enough when we lose them because the road is so windy. But since we're going so fast on these windy roads, we drive off a cliff on accident. Literally, this cliff was like huge. The car started drowning because we land in this lake, and then all of a sudden it turns into the monotone filter because we're at this lake. So now we're drowning. And we're in this car, the car sinks to the bottom. We like get out of the car, we like open the door, I guess, I don't know. And we go up to like the edge of this cliff, and my two friends, which I assume was Lindy and Nicole, I think. I definitely know Lindy was one of the ones that survived. I don't know who the fourth person was, but they're dead, so I guess it doesn't matter. Third person was at the top. I, for some reason, couldn't swim, and like I didn't know how to get back up. So I sunk to the bottom, and Lindy was kind of like sinking down with me for fun, and she's like, why aren't you swimming back up? like mouthing this, like we couldn't talk underwater. I was like, I can't swim, like help me. And she's like, no, like she didn't help me. And then I realized, I look out in this like water on the ground, like with all the sand and stuff, that there's like, it seemed like either the room of a broken down pirate ship, or you know those really old fashioned like sleigh roller coasters where it's kind of like Santa sleigh but it's like wooden and it's like a pirate theme, whatever. It was kind of like that, and there's these wooden statues in them of like gypsies and pirates, and they're all just like sitting there, and I was like, oh, so somebody else like must have crashed in this and whatever. Well, all of a sudden one of the pirates starts walking towards me. I'm like flipping out. I'm like, get away from me, like, oh my god, I need to get out of here. And then it starts signing to me in sign language, and I was like, what the heck? So I start signing back, and it just doesn't understand me, like it doesn't know what I'm saying. It like did something. I don't really remember what it did specifically, but it did this thing so that I was able to breathe underwater and talk to this thing underwater. And I was talking to him, and he was like, we can help you and whatever, like, are you okay? I don't really remember what he sounded like or what he like said, but it just felt safe. Like I feel like we didn't even talk, but I can kind of just tell what he was saying. But all of a sudden, all the other statues started moving, like they're all real. They did the same thing with my friends, and we were like talking to them, and we were like, we need help, like we need somewhere to stay for a little bit, whatever. And they're like, okay, we can help you. So all of them like took us into this room in this ship, and all of a sudden it turned into this huge like city. It was like actually crazy, and the city was like gleaming with like glitter. I don't even know how to describe it. It was gorgeous. Like nothing I'd ever seen before. And it was like Atlantis. I don't even know. But it was like hidden in this like crashed ship. It was so crazy. Like it was like a portal to another world. The statue people don't look like statues anymore. They're like mermaids, but not like the pretty mermaids. They're like the ugly, like scaly, you know, whatever mermaids, like the claws with the things here. They weren't like super pretty, but like as we stayed there longer, they got prettier and prettier, which I thought was kind of cool. So we stayed there, we were like getting to know people, we were like playing games underwater, and it was just really cool. I noticed the second day we were there, I started having these weird like scale things on my legs, where it was like something was connecting my knees, but like I could still walk. Like it was like I had a fabric tying my legs together, but like not, I don't know. I realized like I was growing a tail, basically. Like I was growing a mermaid tail, but it looked like seaweed and like scales and stuff, and like it wasn't pretty. But I was looking up at like the surface of the water from the bottom, and like trying to look for the stars, because I do that in real life. Like I'll look under the water to see like above, to see what it looks like, because I think it looks cool. You could see the reflection of the city, and it was just so gorgeous. And like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like the northern lights, but like with buildings and like glitter. I don't know. It was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was literally the most amazing thing you've ever seen. And like this was all hidden. Like nobody could see this in the real world. But the next day, after we wake up, we like went to the surface to like see if people knew we were missing, and like if we had been reported missing or something. So we go on to Lindy's phone. We found her phone, and we go on there, and we see on the news that it's like 4 girls missing, like we need to find them. They already knew that this girl was dead, so they were like trying to find these 3 murderers and whatever. And we were like in hiding, and in the news thing it said that they were searching the lake, but they were on the opposite side, so they couldn't find us yet. We were like, okay, it's fine, like we just need to hide, whatever. So we went back down, and the next day we went to go check the news again, and we came back up, and they were there and caught us because we went to look, and they were like, oh my god, there are the girls, like go get them. And so they grabbed us and like arrested us, and the tails, I guess the mermaid people like saw us getting taken, they like took them away super fast. And like the only residue that was left over is, for some reason, our entire heads were covered in like rainbow glitter or like pink and purple glitter, kind of like Coachella. We got arrested and they were like interviewing us, and we, you know, I think Lindy told them about like the mermaids and stuff like that, but like I promised one of the people down there that I wouldn't mention them, so I didn't say anything about it. So they literally thought that we were insane. And they sent us back to school, and they literally put up these machines that would play the newscast of like murderers sent back to school, have to serve community service, and like stuff like this and whatever. And like everybody was staring at us, and it was so awkward, and I hated it so much. Yeah, so I don't know, here's our first car talk, I guess. Dreams are weird. I don't know, man. Thanks for watching and listening to me rant about my weird dreams and all that jazz. Yeah, let me know if you want to see another one of these, or like what else I should talk about, or if I should have other people on, because I have fans. I'll see you guys next time. Woo.